Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, and welcome back, everybody, for another Thursday live. Sorry, I can't talk there. Another Thursday live. Mashallah, we have Sister Baina Abdul with us here today, and she's here to talk about how to save more and spend less, inshallah. So she's got a lovely presentation which I'm going to show you in just a second. And Sister Baina's going to talk to you in just a second. I just want to say again, a huge thank you to all the sisters that supported us and watched the conference, and those of you that have joined the inner crowd and our membership. I'm so glad that you guys have joined, because we are ready to change the world. The other day, well, 2 days ago, one of the sisters in our group was talking to me, and she was asking questions, and she said that why didn't you mention this in any of your talks? And I said, I feel like I have mentioned it. She said, well, I've been following you for ages and you haven't heard about this. So I just really wanted to say this to you, and I've actually written it down so I don't get messed up. So raising good Muslims is a huge mission of Your Parenting Tribe, right? So in the past few years, me being online, me being a teacher, being online, I've seen a lot of suffering in the world with Muslim women in particular, right? People have messaged me about abusive husbands, abusive in-laws, generally having to deal with abuse and bullying in the workplace, feeling inferior because we wear this, struggling outside because of our skin color. There's so many things that Muslims are dealing with right now, that we feel like when we find our tribe, that we're together and we feel like, oh my God, you know how I feel, right? And I see sisters nodding along here, because it's so important that we do find our tribe and we find the people that inshallah we will get on with. So if we can get together and raise amazing Muslims, that those guys will then grow up and inshallah marry children. Like, we could get our kids married to each other, because like literally we would be of the same like minds, right? We would be of the same mindset. We understand about abuse and surviving and narcissism and all of these things that come up in our coaching sessions. We understand it all. So if we could do that, then we can focus on growing the ummah rather than surviving. Because right now, everywhere you look, Muslims are just struggling to survive. And that is why we need to get together as an ummah. And like I said in my email earlier, yesterday Morocco was playing in the match, and I know that everybody was supporting them. All the Muslims around the world were supporting Morocco. Although they lost, we didn't mind, because they had the support of the entire Muslim nations behind them, which was just so amazing to be united together in those few moments of peace and brotherhood, right? So inshallah, make the world that they continue to shine and be a lantern for Muslims and youth everywhere. I know that my sons are super excited and super motivated, and they see these players as their heroes. And for a long time we had to kind of rely on heroes of the past. Now we've got heroes in our present time, which I think that inshallah will be amazing for our children to grow up with. So I just wanted to say that to all of you. And again, thank you those of you that have joined. Thank you those of you that watch. Thank you those of you that support us and share our videos and tell people to watch our videos. All of this really helps us, inshallah. And now, without further ado, I'd like to switch over to Sister Baina. Sister, did you send the email to me? Because I haven't received it.
Yes, I sent it right before we logged on. Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Okay. Do you want to just start, and I'll just see if I can find it in my junk or anywhere?
Sure. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Sister Baina Abdul. My full name is Abdul Munim. It's usually shortened or hyphened because a lot of people in the U.S. cannot say it or pronounce it or remember it. I am a real estate investor here in Houston. I wear a lot of hats. And I'm a mom of 3 and wife, of course. My children are ages 21, 19, and 12. So we have a little space in between, and a lot of growth to account for. Um, I have been in the, I have worked in the financial sector here in the U.S. With life insurance policies and retirement funds and things like that. I've also worked with with credit uh, credit restoration services, and now moved into the lovely world of real estate investing. So in real estate, it there are so along my journey, I have learned a lot of uh, helpful tips and tools and things to prepare my finances to be able to allow me to make career changes, to travel, to start a business, to be successful in business, and to raise my family. So there's been a lot of learning and growth along the way. I'm still learning and growing. I'm not there yet. I'm just, at a decent place, alhamdulillah, right now where I can kind of stand on my own. So I have lots of great information to share and tips. And we'll be sharing some of those things with you. I'm a little nervous, y'all. I haven't done a presentation in a very, very long time. So
no, please don't be nervous, sis. You've been awesome, mashallah. And I did realize I was supposed to introduce you rather than you introduce yourself, so I apologize for that. But Sister Baina and I were talking for a while just before the conference, maybe about a month or a few weeks before the conference. And we were talking about how there's something called generational wealth. And we were talking about how we can set that up for our children over the next few generations, inshallah. So there's a lot of people, well, when I was growing up, people used to say, oh, I'm waiting for my inheritance. And I used to think, inheritance? What are you talking about? And I just used to imagine it was the money in my mum and dad's bank account. I was like, well, that goes in and that goes out every month. So what are you talking about? I grew up, I knew that my mum and dad were saving and things like that and investing, but I didn't realize how important it is early on. I don't think I realized early enough how important it is to start those savings. And I think that again, these are important conversations to learn about how to save money, how to grow your money, how to do it Islamically, because the whole time that I'd say for at least about 10 years of our marriage, I really thought that growing your money was haram, really, to be honest with you, Sister Baina. So maybe you can combat that misconception for us today.
Absolutely.
And we've we don't own a house because my husband has always said, I don't want to get a mortgage. So literally our whole entire lives we've just been saving for this, I don't know, dream house that we're at some point going to get. But inshallah, I hope that we will get it, but it just feels really difficult, because if your goal was saving 200,000 back when we left the UK, our goal is now changed to saving up 1 million, which we feel like we're always trying to catch up, which is crazy. So at the moment we could afford a house in Scotland, but it's a little bit far from family. It's about a 7-hour drive. And I feel embarrassed when I say 7-hour drive to Americans, because they're like, what? That's just down the road.
No, not at all.
If Coach Erin was here, she drives around 3 hours regularly, and I just think that is madness. But she does it. She drives to Philadelphia and she drives to New York. She's amazing, mashallah. Unfortunately, I think we're going to have a bit of a technical issue with the presentation today. Do you want to just read the presentation as it is?
I will, yes. I will.
All right, and then just don't worry about it. What we'll do is we will send it on, we'll put it on the Facebook for people to read through after. Is that all right?
That's fine, yes.
Yeah? Okay.
So I will just get started with the presentation. And yes, Sister Sarah, like you said, saving for a house can be a very daunting task. When you're just saving the money yourself, that's a lot of money to come up with. And it's quite a difficult task when you're also trying to live your life and raise a family, and and life happens and things change, and money has to be put in different places at all times. So we don't we're not millionaires here. We can't just like pull a large sum of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars out and say, hey, let's buy a house like it's easy. It's really not. So some of these tips hopefully will help to align your finances for everyone a little bit better and make things a little more clear. Now, so let me get started. I'll just dive in. We'll start with the money mindset. There is a mindset to being able to even save a small amount of money, let alone a large sum. So the question I like to ask is, what's your relationship with your money? When you think about your money, do your bills and future planning seem daunting? Does it cause anxiety? Do you get stressed out thinking about trying to plan for the future with your money? Or do you feel a sense of ease and assurance that you have done everything in your power to put your family in the best financial place so that they're fine with or without you? These are questions that I like to remind people to ask themselves, like, what does that feel like when you even think about it? Because if you're feeling stressed, then there are some things that that probably need to be changed. So on today's agenda, we would like to cover going over balancing a good money mindset. We'll get up and close with your personal finances. It's important to lay everything out on the table so you know exactly what you're dealing with and be very honest with yourself. We'll go over debt management and paying down existing debt, and then we'll go over investing and credit. And then we'll hopefully have time for some Q&A, inshallah. So with a money mindset, there are two different mindsets that people usually have when approaching money. One of those is going to be a scarcity mindset. Now, with a scarcity mindset, scarcity mindsets can stem from a lot of things that where the root cause may be life-changing events or things that make you focus on what you've lost or are missing. Now that mindset, that might be like losing a job, that might be like climbing credit card bills, or divorce, or things in life that happen, medical bills and stuff that will stress your budget. In turn, the reaction becomes trying to hold on to whatever pennies you have, instead of thinking about the future. You're now putting yourself into a survival mode, and then you're now trying to hold on to everything. So that would be a scarcity mindset. Now, a investor's mindset is what we would call a mindset of abundance. A mindset of abundance is a mentality that creates learning, growth, requiring underlying knowledge that everything, and everything is going to be okay. Even though I'm sorry, I'm like reading and talking at the same time, but even though you may be aware that you're not in the best place, you are aware of where you are and where you can possibly grow to. Those with an abundant mentality believe that there is plenty of everything in the world, from resources to love to relationship to wealth, and plenty of opportunities available, because there are. Abundance thinkers act from a place of faith and knowledge of their environment. And I think this is important for us as Muslims, because we believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we know that there is nothing that happens in this world without him. And everything comes from him, good and bad, right? So in that, why are we not kind of leaning into what Allah has already given us and ask him for more? I pray about my financial situation all the time. I make dua about it, and there are specific duas for finances. I don't have them with me today. I apologize for that, but they do exist, and they're very, very helpful. You can make tahajjud for financial situations, and to help to ask Allah to help improve your financial situation if that's something that's being a burden. But the mindset shift is going to be very powerful in allowing you to strategically use your money to help you instead of you use your money to work for you instead of you working for your money. So I always like to stress that we do have to familiarize ourselves and really be open with ourselves and how we feel about money and how we're using it. So let's get up close and personal and take a deep dive into your financial situation. In doing that, I like to always I put everything on a spreadsheet. So before I worked as a real estate investor, I was also I worked in an office building as an HR coordinator for human resources. So I would kind of deal with all the inner workings of the company, and it allowed me to be able to see everything clearly. So I like to always put all of my finances on a spreadsheet where I can see everything, and I mean all of my spending. I'll go through my bank statements and list everything out that I've spent for the month so I can see it clearly on black and white, and I can be very honest with myself and say, okay, some of these things were absolutely needed, like the light bill, that's needed, but not my not my Starbucks coffee. I don't really drink it, but some people do. Or eating out, or my daughter didn't have to have pizza on a Wednesday. I could have cooked something, or just things like that. There are small things that sometimes we spend a lot of money on and don't really realize it. So those are things you want to be mindful of. You want to lay out all of your spending, no matter how big or small the purchase. You want to lay it all out so that you can get a clear look at it. And then you can kind of pick off what's necessary and what isn't. What changes can you make in your daily routine that will support the saving of the money and not utilizing it for those things that are not really necessary? Can you cook or prepare your lunch to go to work? I buy everyone in my family has water bottles. And I buy large jugs of water because they're less expensive than the individual bottles. You can probably see one behind me on my counter. There's a large jug of water. That's what we drink out of. And the water is actually a better quality. So not only am I giving my family a better quality of water, I'm spending a lot less money on it. If I were to buy the large packs of individual bottled water, it's going to cost me double that amount. So I'm going to save there. We're going to pack our own water and carry it with us. So we all have water bottles in our family, and they look all, they're in all different shapes and forms and stuff like that. If you're a coffee drinker, get a coffee machine, make it at home. The grocery store is always less than the convenience stores. So anything that you can not have to purchase outside and you can actually do for yourself at home, it'll be better to do that. If you're a lady who really loves to be glammed up and have your hair and nails done and your feet done and eyelashes and all the things we ladies do, we'll get our eyebrows done, we'll get our eyelashes, sometimes our hair and makeup and nails and all those things. If you are a glam queen, and I love you for that, there are some things that you can do at home, like some of the nail jobs you can probably start to do yourself. They do sell the kits for like gel nails and the gel kits for the nails, the little dryer and everything. And And, you can start to kind of hone a skill for yourself and maybe be able to use that in a business if you're good enough at it. You can start to charge people for your services, and there you're saving money and making money. So these are some of the things that you can do. Those are just a couple of ideas. If you have a friend who does hair and they don't mind giving you a bit of a discount than the salon, that would be a great thing, because not only are you putting money into your friend's pocket, that may be their side hustle, or that may be their profession, but now you're supporting a small business and saving a little money from going to the regular salon. So you'll want to get everything in front of you and then start to take off the things that you can. If you have a cable bill and the cable bill is higher than just owning a smart TV and streaming, cut the cable bill. I've actually done that, and it saved me a lot of money. I think we were paying about $130 something a month for cable, and now I don't have a bill at all because I just stream everything. And I think my Netflix is free because I get it on my phone bill. It comes with my phone service, so it's free there. And everyone uses the one Netflix password, so we kind of save money there. And it's not being frugal or cheap. It's really just being conscious and proactive in your own life and in your own home, your own savings. So you can draw a little money back from there. And these are small things. All the things that I've mentioned, if you were to cut out one of those things, if these are things that that are on your to-do list on a regular, if you were to cut some of those down, you would probably save a couple $100. So then you would be able to afford membership into the group. And that's something that would be easy because, you would have that extra pool of money. So you're always going to evaluate your current situation. You're going to keep a running spreadsheet. So you'll keep it mobile, and you'll continue to input your numbers in there. You can do that monthly, weekly, however often you choose, even quarterly. But you'll want to do it on a repeated basis so that you constantly are aware of what's going on in your wallet. That is, those are a couple of tips for keeping a track of things, because we all have things, we'll want to do. Like, we'll want to travel. We'll want to. My niece just had twins. I want to go see them immediately, but I'm waiting for the baby shower. But I'm going to travel. So we'll want to travel. We'll want to maybe pursue other education or business or something like that. We may want to set a college fund for our children, so that to make sure that they are able to not be in the same situation that we are in. Those are things that you'll want to have a little money for it. So now that, you've gone through all of your finances and you're seeing, hey, I can cut here, cut here, cut here, then you'll total, how much extra money do I have, right? One thing that I like to continuously stress is saving. We always want to have a running savings, and what they would call a emergency fund. You want to have an emergency fund and a savings as well. I like to have separate accounts for separate things. So some of the things that you can do when you're able to draw money from cutting back on something or cutting out a bill or something like that, then you'll want to allocate those funds immediately to something else. You don't want to, splurge or, every now and again, sure, but you don't want to use that money to splurge, because you're still creating and building your financial structure and stability. Right. So you'll want to allocate those funds to something else more important, or something that's going to be a little bit more fruitful. Usually I'm not sure how it is, where you are, but in America, we spend a lot of money on, sometimes we will overspend what we make. Let's say, for example, our monthly income is $5,000, for example. 34% of it goes to our house note, whether that be rent or mortgage. There will be about 19% goes or 20% goes to utilities. Then you have food and education. You'll want to have fun. Some people go out. If you're younger or whatever the case may be, everyone needs a little bit of fun every now and again. But sometimes we tend to overindulge in fun when we're not actually saving. It's my rule of thumb. If I don't have it in the bank, I'm not going anywhere. If I don't have a cushion already prepared, then I can't have fun just yet, right? So I have to have some discipline there, and remind myself, hey, it's not that time yet, and that's okay. We're not going to catch everything. We're not going to catch every party. We're not going to catch every event. We're not going to be able to do every single thing, and that's fine. But you'll want to at least make sure the bases are covered. Are all my bills paid? Are the children taken care of? Is that, all of those things? Is my savings funded for this term? Before I go to splurge on anything, did I save any money for this term? So you'll want to get in the habit of making that a repeated process of accumulating money. A couple of tips that I'll give for savings. Like I said, eating out, eat in. Click coupons. Coupons are great. I mean, there's so many discounts online for everything. There are websites that just give discounts. And then a lot of the manufacturers these days have manufacturers discounts. They have warranties and stuff like that, which also save you money on products. There are coupons for everything. You don't be afraid to use the discounted coupon or the Groupon or whatever it is when you go to a restaurant or you go to a movie theater and you have a buy one get one free and you have a free ticket, or if it's kids can view free at this time, go at those times where the kids can view for free, or the kids eat for free, or whatever that may be. Don't be afraid to be cheap. It's okay. We are protecting ourselves and building our own personal financial future. So don't be afraid to, be the cheap one. And we're not trying to impress anybody. Who is there to impress here? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees everything we do. So who can we actually impress? So be cheap. It's okay. be extra cheap, just be stringent with your finances. Like I said, cancel unused memberships. If you have a gym membership, I'll say this because a lot of people do this. I used to be a personal trainer. That was a few years ago before COVID. And I would always have clients that have these gym memberships and they never use them. They've probably been to the gym maybe 3 times the entire year. If this is you, cancel that membership and go to a park. Okay? Cancel the membership. It's done. You're not going to use it. It looks good. It's nice to have the little keychain thing. It looks like you're doing something. You get the workout clothes and they're super comfortable, but you don't really wear them to work out. You're wearing them to run errands and other things. It's fine. Just cancel the membership. It's costing you. Other ways, buy used over new, right? I do a lot of shopping on Facebook, on the Facebook market. My husband, he'd be so mad at me sometimes because I'll find used furniture or appliances and I don't mind. If it's gently used and it's still in great condition, I want it, and it's costing me a lot less than going to the store. Plus I don't have the hassle of going into the store and all of, seeing all the things that I want. And I'm like trying to be super disciplined when I know I'm not super disciplined. I'm just a little bit, so, sometimes buy used, if you're getting, whatever it may be, whether it's furniture or appliances, TVs, computers, phones, sometimes, You can get them refurbished. A lot of times, places like, I don't know if you guys have Best Buy, but we have an appliance store called Best Buy, and they will sell you a brand new appliance refurbished. So they will take in like a phone or a computer and something like that, and they have technicians on site who refurbish these items, and then they'll sell them again at a lower price. Buy that one because it works just as good and it's going to last just as long. And you can still get a warranty on it. Use a 10-second rule. So there is a 10-second rule that I like to do for impulse purchases. When you're in line in the store and they have all of those good little things around the cash register and stuff like that, or you see it, you're walking through a store and you see something like, oh, I could really use that. Really, you don't need it, but you want it real bad. Wait 10 seconds. Think about it for at least 10 seconds. And then, if it's still really weird, I would say give it another 10 seconds, but really think about it. But don't just, grab it and buy it like, oh, I need this. Probably more often than not, you don't need it. You just want it. You could probably do without it because you already have something that may take its place if you really just were being resourceful. But, if it's a need, of course, but you want to stick to needs over wants and categorize those things and stick with and buy the needs over the wants. And sometimes don't buy it all because it's not really needed. Save your change. So I have my bank account at I bank at Wells Fargo, and they actually have a savings account called Save the Change. And what it does is it will, let's say I spend $1.48, right? Well, the other 52 cents will go into my savings account automatically. It'll come from my checkings and go to my savings, and that way I start to accumulate change. There are a lot of apps that do this, and you can either link them to your bank account or set a fund or whatever. But there are a lot of apps that are available that do this. There are bank accounts that do this. There are credit cards that do this, you'll want to get in a habit of just those small amounts really do add up. Because let's say, I did that on one transaction, but I have 3 or 4 other transactions throughout the day because I'm running errands, right? Well, at the end of the day, I may have saved about $5. And that's not, not a whole lot, but it accumulates after time. And, you'll also have a running savings. Another thing I love to do with my bank account in a way that I save is I set an amount that's going to be automated, that's going to transfer from my bank, from my checking to my savings. That's an automated amount. I never get a hold of it. I do mine when my check is scheduled to come in, so I'll know once that check hits my account is all automatically separating it. And I don't have to do it myself. It takes a lot of the thinking out of it. Sometimes we'll stress over even thinking about moving the money, you know what I mean? And you get an anxiety about it and you're like, oh, do I really need to save right now? I really want this, I really need to pay for this. I need to, do this or whatever. You need to save. So let it do it for itself. Don't touch the money once it's over there in the savings account. Leave it for as long as you possibly can. Some of these accounts in certain banks, you actually get dividends for your savings. And it may be, small amounts or whatever. But like I said, each little penny, each dime, each nickel, each quarter, it all adds up in the end. And after a while, over time, you'll see that you've accumulated a lot more than you thought was even possible. Another thing. So I create separate, there's a method of creating separate accounts for separate things. If you have particular things that you would like to save for, goals that you have set for yourself, let's say, like Sarah said, she's saving for a house. You'll have a house account and then you'll have a savings account. So they'll be separate. The savings is just for backup. The house account is for the actual house. Right? If you're taking a trip or you have, some large purchase that you want to make, or you have taxes coming up or holiday savings, and Eid is coming and you want to get the kids all kinds of gifts and things, or take a trip on Eid and see family and stuff like that. You'll want to just set aside an Eid account, and it doesn't have to be as long standing as your savings account. It doesn't, but you'll save it separately just to make sure you're fully covered with all of your bases first, right? And then you'll save for the other things, and once you start to really get into your finances, you'll start to find ways to put more money away for the things that you really want, so you can get creative in that and separate those things so that you'll make sure you'll be able to reach those goals. You'll be able to take that trip. That child will be able to go to college. You'll be able to get that house. You'll be able to get that car, whatever it is that you're saving for. Another thing that I like to do, if you're able to, is grow your own food. Growing your own food can save you a lot of money in the grocery store. Whatever it is you're able to grow. I don't care if it's just a lemon tree outside, some of us I live in an apartment, and I don't have an outside space in this apartment. So I'm growing something in my window. I have a couple of peppers and some herbs growing also. So whatever you're able to grow for yourself, that will be helpful. And a lot of times, we think that it may be like a huge task and stuff. It's really not. There's a lot of education around growing food. There are Facebook groups. I can actually link you with my sister. She's kind of a master grower. She's a super green thumb. She's has gardens and trees and stuff like that all over the place. She can teach you how to grow almost anything, anywhere. I grow things even in my refrigerator. When you keep your potatoes or onions and they start to sprout, put them in some water or some dirt and give them a little sunshine. And after a while, you'll have a whole new plant. So you don't always have to go get seeds and do the whole, thing. Stuff starts to grow really in the refrigerator a lot, pretty often. And if it's not, then it's probably not good to eat anyway. So, and I have a lot of information on that. I'm a lot better at health than I am at finances. So I have a lot of information on that. But yeah, when you see your vegetables start to grow in the refrigerator, don't toss them. They're not, if your garlic or onions or potatoes or and stuff like that is actually sprouting, find a pot, a good window, and plant them. And pretty soon you'll be able to have your own peppers or tomatoes or onions or whatever, and that saves money over time at the supermarket. Invest in your health. And I can't say this strongly enough. Like I said, I know more about health than I do about finances because I'm actually certified in health. But I had spent so much money on insurance and doctors and medications and treatments and all these things. And sometimes when we have a health impacting event, it could drain our finances entirely. And really, if we haven't saved anything, it'll completely, start a downhill effect with life in general. Because, once you have taken a lot of money to put into your health, you've taken that money away from something you were already using for something that you needed, right? If you haven't started saving or anything. And that can be very draining on the pockets and very stressful at that. So get to know, there's small amounts, small things, changes in your diet and noticing your body's reaction to certain foods and stuff can really help you alleviate going to the doctor, being on a medication, or an actual crisis event to happen within your health. I have lots of information on that, so I can kind of come back with that at another date or post it in the Facebook group or something. But I will totally share that information so that anyone who is interested can utilize it. So those are some of the tips that I like to implore upon people to help get to savings, right? Okay, so let's get to paying off debt. So there is a way, there is a structure to paying off debt that makes it doable and possible. In the financial world, they just say, they like to call this the pay down effect. What happens is you'll line up all of your bills, right? And you'll start with the one with the lowest monthly payment. If it's a credit card bill, if it's a store card, or whatever it may be, whatever has the lowest monthly payment. We're not talking about utilities here, but more so this would be like car note or house note, a credit card bill, kind of revolving things that utilize of some form of monthly payment to pay down a large sum, right? So let's say, for example, you have a store credit card. Over here we have Macy's. That's a big one. So let's say you have your Macy's card and the balance is like $1,500, and you're only paying like $41 a month. So really, it would take 36 months. If you're paying just the minimum, $41 a month, it would take 36 months to pay down this $1,500 debt, right? This doesn't actually include the interest on it, right? So this is just an example. Let's say you were able to stop going to Starbucks and made your own coffee, and you came up with an extra $40 in the month, right? So you'll apply this $40 to this card bill. Now you're paying $80 a month on the card bill. So now it's only going to take you $80 a month on that card bill that was $1,500. It'll now only take you, instead of 36 months, it now takes 19 months to pay entirely off. So now you don't have that bill anymore. So like I said, you don't go and splurge just yet. What you'll do is roll that money, that sum of money that you were putting on the credit card bill, the whole sum, the whole $80 that you started paying on that, and you apply it to the next bill. So let's say that next one is a car note, right? Let's say the car note is the full term of the car note is about $16,000, right? If you're paying $300 a month to pay this car note off, then you'll pay it off in about 53 months. That's a pretty long time, right? So if you now apply that $80, and these are small numbers, but they make a difference. Now paying $380 to that $1,600 car note, you'll now, instead of 53 months, we now cut it down to 42 months. So we cut it down almost a year. So a year earlier than you would have been out of that car note, now you have that money available to you. So now you have $380 of loose cash to now move on to maybe a house note. Maybe it's some other bill or something. So now you'll start to add that money onto the next one and then pay that one down. This is how people are able to get out of debt and minimize their debt in a very quick basis, because these are just example numbers. When real numbers really start to add up, then you'll see that things can actually move a lot faster. Right. So that's how that is the professional financial way to pay down your debt and get out of debt faster than you normally would. And this doesn't use any type of interest or anything like that. It's your own money working for you. So let's get to taking control of your finances. So after taking the deep dive, you find that into everything, you find money is being spent. Wait, where is it? Okay, so sorry. Okay, so after taking the deep dive into your finances, now you've gone through everything. You've looked at all your finances, you've mapped everything out. You've been able to put together a plan to now save for some things. You've now opened accounts to be able to save for some things. So now you have kind of a structure set, and it's like a foundation that you can now stand on and say, hey, I have a method of saving. So you've created your own structure and your own method within your own house. So we want to talk about now investments. So now that you've saved up some money and you have a little bit of extra cash, you have some savings, you have you'll want to have enough savings that's going to be like an emergency fund so that you will be able to cover your bills for at least 3 to 6 months should something happen to you, right? Once that is accomplished, then you'll be able to start to make investments. I love asset-based investments because they are a lot more to the point and a little more powerful for you. One of those assets could be a side business. If you cook very well and you're able to sell plates, that could be a side business. If you're able to cut hair or do hair, that could be a side business that could bring in a lot of extra cash. If you are able to do nails or work on cars or whatever your talent or skill set may be, there's always a way to provide that skill to someone else who will pay you for it. There we go. Yay. Awesome. Where was that one? Okay, yes. Take control of your finances. Yes.
Is this the right page? I was trying to find the right
Yes,
page.
you go 2 slides down to asset investments. Perfect. I hope everyone can see this. So side business was the first one. There are also investment apps, and I mentioned these a little bit earlier on, that will help you to save money. Some of them will want access to your bank account because they will draft a small amount into your savings on a schedule for you. So the investment apps are really good. I use one called Acorns. I don't know if that's available where you are, but Acorns is a great app. You can utilize it to for 2 things. Well, for lots of things, but there are 2 main things that you can use it for where you don't have to risk a whole lot. One is you can have on the card, they have a debit card that you can use. Now this can become a personal card for you, or a card that you utilize for something else, for a particular savings. You're able to have money saved on this account and you have access to it via the debit card. You can either, and you can, if that's for, I don't know, a child's karate lessons or something like that. And you can put that money aside without it affecting your regular household budget, and make sure that they have their lessons or whatever that may be. So Acorns is a good one for that. There are lots of others, though, on the market. You'll want to read into them and make sure that everything is legit and they haven't been sued or anything like that, because that happens. Another one would be co-ops. I love co-ops because it is like a crowdfunding type of environment, right? Where you're able to get with a group of like-minded individuals, like-minded people like yourself who are trying to work to save, trying to work to, get to the next level, or, increase their income, or branch out, whatever it is they're looking to do. They're looking to gain money in a way that's halal and that's going to benefit them. So group funding through co-ops is a great way to invest your money. It allows you to put in a small amount. Let's say you put in a couple $100, and everyone is putting in that money. So it rotates as to who gets the pot. You may put that money in maybe 4 times, and then on the 5th time, it's your time to get everything back. You have only put in a couple $100, but maybe you may take away a couple thousand. So co-ops and group funding are great ways to invest a little bit of money and get a great return, to where you will be able to make some type of change and pay for something or do something extra with it. Like I have examples here for like launching a business or going back to school, or, taking a trip, whatever it is that you're wanting to do. And I say launching a business or going back to school because those are things that are going to ultimately enrich you and your pockets. So those are why those are mentioned. Home ownership is a great great. Probably the best asset investment that I can think of. If you own a home right now and you have equity in your home, you are there, depending on the state that you live in. I know here in Texas and in the US, you are able to refinance your home and take the equity from the home, and you can utilize that to either buy another property that you can use for a rental, or an office building, or a party space or event space. But you can use that money to invest into something else that'll pay you, right? You can also, if you have a garage that's not being used or it's just being used for storage, if you're able to maybe get a shed for storage, and you can revamp your garage to rent out to a tenant, and now you're making money on your garage. Or if you have an extra bedroom in your home or something like that, and you don't mind someone paying to live there, maybe it's a sister who just needs a place to stay or something like that, or to go to school or something, then you're able to rent out that room and make money off of your home. And you can actually these are things you can file in your taxes as well. I'm not sure for where you are, and don't quote me on this, but here you're able to file taxes on things like this and get tax breaks, and also get the investment. Goodness, what is the term? You'll get the money back for the investment, basically, when you file the taxes on it. So there are tax breaks that you can get for owning your home and utilizing it as a space to rent out. There are also lots of tax breaks that you'll get if you refinance. Starting a garden. Starting a garden doesn't seem like an investment, but when you think about it, it really is. The cost of food has gone up significantly, and I only expect it to grow more because of, we'll say, the powers that be, right? We know who they are. They're doing all kinds of stuff with the food chain around the world. So be on the lookout for that. I implore people, if you have a small space in your yard and you're able to plant anything, please plant something that is going to be edible. Even if it's, a lemon tree. Like I said, lemons have so much medicinal value. They're not to be mistaken, but they are healers. So, even if it's just a couple fruit trees, when you think about it, for those who have maybe never gardened or don't grow or haven't grown food before, when a plant grows food, you more often than not, you have more food than you're able to eat. So you then have a product to sell somewhere, whether it be on a stand at a farmer's market, or just a little fruit stand somewhere out, or just right out of your house. You have a product now to sell and make more profit and make more money off of. So that is the reason why starting a garden is up here. You not only are able to feed your family organic, natural food that is actually going to be helpful to your health, you're also able to sell what's left. So now to the next one, risk and rewards, right? If you'll scroll down, there we go. So there is always going to be a risk with any changes or with any change or investment that you're interested in. You'll want to weigh those risks against, what you have going on in your family and whether or not it's feasible. There's a lot of different investment vehicles out there, but you'll want to look into those and make sure it's going to be the right fit for you and your family. And if you're not sure, you can always contact me, and we can do take a deep dive and do some research on it, and also make dua on it before you do any investment. So now, when you get to investments and things like that, by now you should have, extra cash. You should probably have some extra income at this point. And you'll be able to get membership here at the group. So it's important to know where you stand financially, where you're headed, and how quickly you want to get there. That is what's going to determine what type of investment is going to work best for you. So there are rewards as well. So the rewards of making the right investment or even investing in yourself is going to be a better life, right? We'll want, we want other things. We want a little bit more than what we have right now. And that's kind of why we're here today. So we want to do better always. And so as we're striving to do better, if we put some discipline in place and we put some tools in place and make some structure with our financial situation, then the rewards will far outweigh the risk. You'll have freedom to move about. You'll be able to, do the things that really matter to you. Okay, so I want to touch on this before I take up all the time. So on credit, if you'll go to the next slide. So, credit has a lot of taboo around it, does it not? Yes. We know about the interest with credits, and I'll put it this way. So there are halal ways to buy homes, and there are organizations that promote and structure and will give you the tools and everything and set you up with a proper mortgage that's going to be more halal than the regular mortgage or investment. And I'll get that information from you. There's a group on Facebook that I've seen. And I don't have that particular information. I just have the standard stuff. But for that, I will definitely get that information, the group's information, because they are a halal financial services group or organization. They're an actual company. So for credit, as far as your regular, when we think of credit, we think of credit cards and stuff, right? That's usually the first thing that comes to mind for anyone. So how-tos. Most credit cards will allow you anywhere from 60 to 90 days to make a purchase and then pay it off in full before attaching any type of interest to the payment, right? So this is a way to establish credit and build credit. You will pay, and you want to keep a running credit because it's important for purchasing and for your financial report card, I'll say. Lenders or anyone in the financial market or who will look at you for an investment is going to want to know about your credit history. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to have long-standing debts. It doesn't mean that you have to utilize credit in a manner that's not halal. You can utilize it in this way, and it establishes and it builds a healthy credit report. You can do loans this way as well. Some loans will give you terms like that, and they'll have super low interest rates so that you can pay it off without having to deal with a whole lot of riba. So there is a website called, and I'm not sure if you'll have access to it, but there is a website called Credit Strong. This is a website that allows you to invest your own money. You use your own money to establish credit. It's almost like a secured credit card, but you don't have access, or a secured loan, but you don't have access to the funds until they're fully paid off. Now, the interest rate is so low that on $1,000, I think you're only paying over a 4-year term. The total payment was probably like $1,037 or something like that. That's how low the interest rates are. So this is a way to build your credit profile and you invest your own money. You put your own money in to the loan, and then once it's paid off, they give it back to you. So you've really only paid, $37 over your initial investment, and they give you back your money. But you now have a loan on your credit profile that looks very strong because you've been paying it regularly and you've paid it off, right? They don't need to know, the credit bureau, they're not going to really, try to dig too deep to find out, the source and all of that. They just want to know, is it there? Is it paid off? Is it in good standing? And this is something that would be that way. You can do a couple of loans or whatever. You can do whatever, however much you want, but it's like a secured loan. There are also secured credit cards where you would invest your own money. I did one of these to actually start my credit because I didn't have credit for forever, and because I didn't use any. I used to just say all cash is fine, But then there were some bigger items that I wanted, and I didn't have the cash, and I needed the item as an investment to actually make more cash. So, like my computer. So, did a secured card. What you do is you will send them however much money you want to put in secured. I think some of them have a limit of like $1,000 or something like that. No, it's not true. Because I know some that do like, 500 and stuff like that. So you put your own money, you send your money to the credit card company. This is a national credit card company or an international credit card company. You'll send it to them. They will put your money on the card, right? When you use the card, let's say, but you don't want to use it for bills. If you used it, let's say there was a birthday, and you paid for the birthday with the credit card, but you had all the money to pay for the birthday to begin with. This is just to build credit. So you'll pay for an item and then pay it off using you're paying for it. This is all your own money all the time. So you pay for the item with the credit card. You use money to pay off the credit card. After about 6 months of doing this, and the card stays in good standing, about 3 to 6 months, right? The card stays in good standing. You can then upgrade the card to a normal credit card. They send you back your initial investment. If there is a balance, it'll be minus whatever balance is there, but they send you back your initial investment. And now you have a solid credit card on the charts that's going to add to your credit portfolio, which is going to make you even stronger when it comes to something like buying a car or something like that. How not? Taking on a credit card to pay bills or pay things you cannot afford is a complete no-no. If you can't afford it, you can't have it. You'll have to be a little bit patient and find ways to kind of finagle your cash, trying to move things around a little bit to see if you can afford it. But if you can't afford it and you need to use a credit card and it's not going to make you money, not an asset that's going to pay off itself, then no, you can't have it. Also, there's no structure or discipline in just buying things with a credit card just because you don't have the money. There's no structure or discipline there, and that way it can get away from you. It'll add to problems and throw you into debt. And we don't want debt; we want savings. So you don't want to use a credit card for anything like paying bills. You don't want to pay, for things that you just can't afford, or buying new shiny new toys, and they're not an asset that's going to pay off itself. Now, if you bought a car and you're going to use that car for ride shares, and that's going to pay off the car note, then you're doing good. It becomes an asset and not a liability. But other than that, you want to be very careful as to how you structure those purchases. Okay. Any questions?
Jazakallah khair for that. It's brilliant, mashallah. Really, really informative. I think everyone was listening so intently they forgot to put their questions in the chat. But I do have one right towards the beginning when you were talking about savings accounts. So she said that my question is saving in saving accounts and through credit cards. Is that interest based? If so, what is a halal way of saving?
So savings in a savings account is not interest based. You wouldn't actually save money in a credit card. They just give you an allotted amount of money. So you wouldn't really consult credit cards for any type of savings. That's not what they're for. But in a bank account, no, there's no interest, and usually you can gain dividends on your savings in most bank accounts.
So there might be a bit of a difference in UK and US on that. So maybe people have to research, do you think? Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that out here, they don't have interest. I mean, they've got interest-based ones, but you can choose an Islamic bank. So they usually deal with profit rather than interest. So yeah, so that obviously there's a difference there. But Jazakallah khair, sister, this was just amazing from the beginning to the end. And I think we were talking in our group about who takes notes and who doesn't. But I'm one of those that to listen, and then I'll go back and I'll take notes. But today I was scribbling stuff down. And I wanted to say you talked about discounts, so I just wanted to share, because I know the audience likes it when I tell them these silly stories. But seriously, we get a book here. Well, it used to be a physical book, but now you can get the app, which is online. And it's literally, you had to carry it around with you. And I'm trying to look for a book that's about the same size, but it's not like this. It's about 4 times bigger than this.
I remember we had those too.
You have those as well? Oh my God, it was like the Yellow Pages, right? I'm trying to think, or something like that, really huge. And we used to have to carry it everywhere. And then my husband would stand in the middle of the mall and go, wait, do we have a coupon for that? And I would be like, put it away, don't show anyone what you're doing. And the funny thing was that we were like, we weren't ashamed, and I don't think I was ashamed, but it was just one of those like, oh my God, he'd say, no, we're not eating there, we don't have any vouchers, no, we're going to eat somewhere else, he'd do that with us. And sometimes my girls would be like, oh, Dad, we give over. But the funny thing was that we would show it. We would go out with people and would say, oh, yeah, we'll go here. When we go to pay, we've got the coupon. And they would be like, hey, wait, where'd you get that coupon from? Wait, I want that. And it was so it was a bit strange for us to say, well, hang on a minute, like you guys are interested in this, and I remember sharing it with some of our friends, and they were like, oh, the entertainer is just amazing, that's what it's called, by the way, the entertainer. And they'd just be like, oh, that's fantastic. And nowadays we've got coupons with your bank. You get a book, you get it with your phone, with the phone company as well. You get another book so it's like different places have caught onto the idea, whereas like I said before, it was just like, wait, hang on a minute, you're using a coupon. Right. But it's really good, definitely. And for my husband, I'm gonna be honest here, for the longest time we didn't go to Nando's as a family, because he would just be like, oh, it's so expensive, but and we wouldn't have any coupons. So even if he saves like 5%, he'll be happy, but we just never had the coupons. So I would like sneak the kids, or like 1 or 2 kids, or me, because I used to love it. And now here, alhamdulillah, it must have been my dua at some point, we've got a 10% discount, so we can go. It's amazing to me. And one of the sisters has said, is there a limit to how much we're allowed to save in Islam? And are we supposed to make an effort to save Islamically? That's a good question.
Not to my knowledge. I have not come across any hadith that gives us a limit to our savings. So I guess I would say I don't know, because I haven't come across that information ever. So, but in savings, and two, we do also want to remember to, of course, have this is one thing I forgot to put in the presentation, to have a charity fund as well. We do want to make sure that we are paying our zakat. That's only going to help us to gain, when you give more, you receive more. So we always want to remember that. But to my knowledge, I don't know about a limit for savings. What was the second part of the question?
Are we supposed to make an effort to save Islamically?
I would say, as a Muslim, I believe it is our responsibility to, as we live in these countries and these environments where money is the main power structure, it is kind of our duty to have a strong house or a strong financial structure to stand on, so that we're not taken advantage of by the outside world, and that we don't fall, by the wayside. We don't want to be, below the poverty line, and then because things happens to these people, especially as brown people, things happen to, they will try to do us anything, any type of harm if we are in any situation of vulnerability. So, I kind of take it as a duty for my family to make sure that we are in the best position that we can be, and always trying to grow and do better, because when we strengthen ourselves, we strengthen the ummah. And everyone has to kind of start from within, and in their own home. But when we come together, if we have all done the work and we are all strong in ourselves and we come together, then we can be a strong front and make sure that things don't happen to us, that we don't get taken advantage of, that we don't get the burnt end of the stick all the time, because they try us all the time.
Yeah, they do. And I believe, I don't know if this is where the sister's coming from, but it's something that I did struggle with, I would say about maybe 10 or so years ago, that it would be like my husband would feel like we have to save every single penny, and there was no fun time. There was no fun money. It was all like we're either saving or living, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I liked the way that you said at the beginning, and I guess, like I said, when we learnt it, maybe I just went a bit over the top with the fun, but it was like when you've been restrained for a long time, I think you do tend to do that. And funnily enough, we're talking about health as well. It's the same kind of thing. Like when you go on a diet, you stop yourself so much that when you get off the diet, you're like, right, I'll have that cake and this and this and this, and then you end up in the same place that you were already, right? So we feel like there was a point where we had to realize that yes, you can spend a little bit of money and enjoy life as well, but then at the same time you've got to have a limit on that. So definitely I agree with what you said earlier. That just really made a lot of sense to me, and the sisters are saying that it makes sense too, what you said earlier about the saving, but I do agree. I don't know if that's what Sister Simon's talking about, because that's what she's saying in the group, but I'm just saying that saving too much, it's like, have a bit of a balance. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Yeah. Balance is always a necessity in everything that we do in Islam. Like, we have to find balance with everything. And there's a balance to saving as well, because you don't want the stress and the strain. You're not doing it for the stress and anxiety. You want to get rid of the stress and anxiety. So you're just putting away that, we have to live within our means and be realistic about where we are and what we are able to accomplish and what we can do, and then kind of go from there and figure out, okay, but not still take away the living part, because I think as minorities, we tend to do that. We'll get really, like real involved and real strict and say, okay, we're going to save for this house, or we're going to save for this trip, or we're going to, and then everything goes into there. And then by the time that, even if sometimes you don't even make it to the thing. And, all the while, everyone's stressed out the whole time, just trying to save and put together every penny, but it's not being done in a way that's going to grow the money as well as keep everyone, happy and feeling more calm and at ease about it. So it's just one thing being done, not a couple of things being done to put together a whole structure so that it just happens naturally and you don't have to stress over it. So definitely a balance is very, very, very necessary, and it's key in saving and getting your structure together.
That's so brilliant, mashallah. Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much for coming. Really, really appreciate everything that you've
Thank
said.
you for having me.
Somebody was saying I don't spend time getting coupons because I don't have enough time. So do you have any tips on that, getting coupons?
Oh, yeah. So some grocery stores have like those reward cards, and you can keep them on your keychain or have it in your phone or whatever. Those are great because if you shop at that store regularly and there are things that are have coupons and stuff, it'll just be on the little card. And that way you have the card, so you're already there, you're already saving on the things that you buy normally. Also, there are lots of travel apps if you are renting a car or taking a flight or you're renting a hotel or something like that. Yeah, there are apps and insurances that offer discounts on travel things, right? For example, my car insurance offers a discount on hotels and rental cars and stuff like that. So you'll utilize those, whatever clubs you can find. Target is a very big store here, and Target has Target Rewards, and they have their clearance rack. Shop clearance racks. I love clearance racks. So clearance racks and sales, and when companies are offering rewards, especially I'll get into that another time, but credit card companies offer a lot of rewards on different things, and sometimes those are good for travel and stuff like that. But yeah, use the reward programs. Any type of card, any type of rewards card that you can get while you're out, in your normal things, utilize those. There are also apps there are coupon apps that will have the coupon on your phone, and they have it's like a wallet, like a coupon wallet. You can look for them in the Play Store, whatever Play Store you may have, Apple or Google, and just put in coupon app, and they will show you lots of apps that will have coupons to your regular local stores, and you can get coupons and stuff there, and you can just show them on your phone. Now it makes it more convenient, because I used to have the book too, Sister Sarah. And I remember, and my mom had the book and everything. I remember we would travel, and we went to SeaWorld one time, and we were like, okay, hotels, let's look through the book. And then SeaWorld, let's look through the book, So yeah, those apps are brilliant, and they're super useful. You can just show the thing on your phone. But there's lots of ways, and once you start looking, you'll see that there are more and more companies that have discounts on everything, and you can just pick and choose what's going to be good for you in your life, and you can start to utilize those things to help with the savings.
Definitely. Jazakallah khair. I can add to that. There's two more that you can do. One is called Honeybee. It's an extension, like a Chrome extension. So if you don't know about tech, just get one of your kids to do it. I'm not even going to say husband. Your children will be able to do it for you. Don't worry about that. So you just stick it on, and then when you're on like H&M or Next or a website like that, you just run the code, and then they'll scan the entire internet and find the coupon that will work for you for that day. So sometimes it's just free delivery, which is still fantastic because you save like £5 to £10. Sometimes it's like 10% off or 5% off, or sometimes it's like in sale, you'll get extra, buy one, get one free, or something like that. So you can check, it's like an extension that you can add to your Chrome. And I don't have it on this laptop, but I do have it on one of my daughters has it on hers, and she just checks it. The other thing that she does, and I'll tell you a little story about my daughter in a second, because she takes after my husband completely. But she she follows me in the supermarket. You're not going to believe me, Bayana. She follows me and she goes, "Mom, we don't need that. You bought that last week. You do not need one of them."
She's a good one.
Market with me. But she shops on Shein because we don't have Primark or Target. Primark's in London, Target's in US. We don't have like a cheap and cheerful store with fashionable items. So we have Shein. And apparently, I do know, she does reviews. So what she does is she wears the clothes and then she'll just take a photo of her wearing it. It doesn't have to be with her face. And then she does a review for them and they get points. And then those points are converted money. And then the other day I said, "Oh, I might have to go and do an interview." She said, "Oh, why don't you check out Shein? They've got jackets and things in your size." I said, "Oh, really?" And then we went on it and she goes, "Oh, Mum, I've got enough points to buy that." And I was shocked. It was like, it was about 35 or 40 pounds in UK money, which is still a lot. And she had points to pay for it. So I was like, "This is amazing." And I said, "No, I don't want to pay for it with points. I want your dad." That's his job, to feed me and clothe me. And then he started laughing and he was like, "Why? I paid for all the other stuff. That's how she got the points." But, there is so much stuff that we can do. And I love that you talked about Facebook Marketplace, because again, I get a lot of the big toys on there, like when they want my daughter Hafsa for the longest time wanted a Barbie house. And I would always say to her, I'm looking. It took me around 6 months or 8 months to even find a good one that was decent enough and, like a good price, like you said. And it's got to be in good quality. Don't buy rubbish, obviously. But, she's ended up with a Barbie house for like a third of the price of a real one. And she's happy. She did say to me, "Mom, I think this is the old one." And I was like, no, this is the Qatar version. But,
Exactly.
you've just got to, be creative. And like I said, mashallah, it's been so amazing. And inshallah, sisters, once you do all of these tips and you save all of your money, you can then come back and join our membership, inshallah. Just before we go, I just want to let you know that Sister Baina has got a website, lionhearthouston.com. So please go on there, follow her, inshallah, follow her. Do you have Instagram and Facebook? You didn't send that to me, but
I do have Instagram and Facebook. I am at it's on Facebook. I'm just Baina Abdul or Lionheart Houston.
okay.
And on Instagram, I am at Lionheart Houston.
Okay, I've just popped that in the comments, sisters. So you can follow Sister on Instagram and Facebook and get lots of good tips, because it's something that we all kind of shy away from, I think, because it's like, like there is a little bit of stigma attached, I feel. And again, I said, I'll tell you the little story about Miriam. She used to watch something called Extreme Cheapskates on YouTube. I don't know if you watched that. We used to watch it on YouTube a lot. And they do crazy stuff. Like there was one dad who would go in and say, "Yeah, we're going to go out and eat a meal out," but then he wouldn't let them have drinks from there, or he would share one meal between 4 people. This is extreme. Obviously, there was a woman that used an exercise bike to run a filter for her swimming pool. So she had a swimming pool. Like, imagine she's got enough money for a swimming pool, but she's like, "Nah, I don't want to pay for the filter. I'm just gonna." So she used to sit on the exercise bike while her kids were playing in the swimming pool. Now, fair enough, well done to her. She can do that. But I'm just saying that these are extreme things. But once you start watching and being creative and start thinking about it, there'll be so many things that you can do, like just growing your own vegetables. And my mum has plums, cherries, apples, and a few herbs, like you said. And it's absolutely true. Like, she has so many that we end up like just taking baskets full and giving them to the neighbors because you don't really know what to do with them, you know. So it's absolutely true that you've got so much, and I'll tell her that she can sell them now. She'll be happy with that. So Jazakallah khair again. It's been an extra bumper edition. We don't normally carry on this long, and I know some mums have already left to go pick up their kids from school. But Jazakallah khair, thank you so much for coming, and thank you, audience. And inshallah, if you have any questions, Sister Baina will be in our Facebook group, and I'm sure that I can get her to come on and do some private sessions in our membership as well, inshallah. So please do come along and join us. All right, sisters. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for having me.